When did the first humans leave Africa? It's a question that scientists have been trying to answer for a long time, and recent discoveries are shedding new light on our species' past. Even though we're all pretty familiar with the basic story of human evolution, there are still gaps in our knowledge. And by comparing DNA, the researchers were able to identify two distinct groups of humans from this time period, one that stayed in Africa and one that migrated to the Middle East. Eventually, these two groups interbred with other hominins, including Neanderthals and Denisovans, but they mostly stayed separate from each other. But this study is the first to show that these humans split into two distinct populations after leaving Africa. But once humans reached the Middle East, they quickly spread out. But as scientists continue to analyze ancient DNA, we'll likely learn more about our past. Maybe we'll even find out what to call this mysterious group. Within 10,000 years, they have moved into Europe and Asia, where they lived alongside other hominins for thousands of years. To come to these conclusions, the researchers analyzed the genomes of 5 Neanderthals and 6 modern humans from Africa, Europe, and the Middle East. They focus on the genomes of 5 specific regions that were inherited from archaic hominins and used computer modeling to trace these genes back through time. Their results suggest that all modern humans alive today can be traced back to two groups, one that lived in Africa 300,000 years ago, and another that lived in the Middle East 200,000 years ago. These two groups likely split when a small population left Africa and migrated into the Middle East, and although they eventually came back together, they didn't exchange much genetic material. Instead, the two groups mostly bred within themselves, which makes sense given that they probably didn't spend much time together. The genetic evidence suggests that these two groups split around 300,000 years ago, when a small band of about 200 humans migrated out of Africa into the Middle East. This was long before the genetic and anatomical features that define our species today evolved. So this group wouldn't have looked exactly like us, but they would have had larger brains than other hominins and likely walked upright on 2 legs. If you like this video, check out this playlist for more. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an upload. They may have used tools and hunted big game, but their brains would have been too small to develop language or complex social structures. Like we know that our distant ancestors split from other great apes around 6 million years ago in Africa. And we also know that the first members of our genus Homo emerged in Africa about 3 million years ago. But for a long time, scientists couldn't agree on when or how the first humans left the continent. And they can't even agree on what to call this group. Should it be Homo sapiens, anatomically modern humans, early modern humans, or something else? This has made it difficult to study because if you can't agree on what to call a group, you can't draw conclusions about when and how they moved around the globe. Hi, it's me and welcome to this channel. But a new genetic study says that the first humans left Africa around 300,000 years ago. For example, Neanderthals lived in Europe for at least 40,000 years before they went extinct. Meanwhile, another group of humans remained in Africa until much more recently. And although these two groups eventually rejoined, they didn't do so until 12,000 years ago. By that time, both groups had changed a lot. The group that had migrated out of Africa earlier contained Neanderthals and Denisovans, whereas the group that had stayed in Africa was genetically distinct. Eventually, these humans moved into Europe and Asia, where they lived alongside other hominins for thousands of years. This isn't the first study to suggest that early modern humans migrated out of Africa around 300,000 years ago. The researchers say that this migration out of Africa was likely a gradual process that happened over many generations. There's still a lot that we don't know about the first humans. Thanks for watching.